I'm here in the offices of Jewell Wright Limited. They are artist representation company, but they're much more than that. And recently, very recently, they celebrated 10 years in the business. And here I have with me Jimmy Jewell. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
10 years. How does that feel? Did you have a good party?
It was a great party. A great party. We were approaching it halfway through last year, and it's such a monumental event for me to get to 10 years. Because it's gone by so quickly, I had no idea it was coming up. Someone asked me 6 months ago how old the company was, and I suddenly realised we were coming up to 10 years. So I decided that we really had to market and market properly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great party.
Now you have some really incredible hyphenates. Musician, performer, conductor, producer, writer. How does that happen?
When I was a kid, I went to St Paul's Cathedral choir when I was a small boy, and decided I was a singer, and then had an amazing time when I was there, and we got to record all sorts of film soundtracks and things in Abbey Road when we weren't singing in the cathedral or touring America. The first tour I did of the States was when I was 8 years old. But then, of course, my voice broke when I was 13. I was in the same year, the year below Julian Ovington. And Julian and my voices broke at about the same time. He went on to have this golden, beautiful voice, and mine lost all sense of quality at all.
It happens.
But not at all bitter.
It actually happens, doesn't it? There's some people who actually glide through the change of voice, and others...
Yeah, no, it did. Mine was destroyed in an instant. But by that point, I was a fairly proficient piano player and musician. I got a music scholarship into a school. And so that was always going to be the way I went. I left and went to the Royal Academy of Music. And at the same time, joined the National Youth Music Theatre. So that's where you get the crossover between being a musician and then kind of coming into musical theatre.
Sure.
It was just all about opportunity in those days. If you wanted to do something, if you had a good idea, you could go to someone and say, how about we do this show with the Academy Orchestra and your people? And people would just say yes. When I was at the Academy, I auditioned for rock tours, and so that kind of, then I became a rock musician at the same time. I think I realised that I was going to be freelance for a while, and you know, no one likes resting. I got signed to an agent. I soon started dating that agent. And she decided that she wanted her own agency, and so I said, well look, I've got a production company. We can run a company. Why don't we open a company? You can be the agent, and I'll just pop in and
that's showbiz.
I'll pop in and just dot the I's and cross the T's. And so we set this up, and then after about a year we got married, and then the inevitable happened. We were about to have children, and so my wife went home and kind of left me, gladly, left me with this agency. Neil had worked alongside us from day one, and
I've read somewhere that you met in Mamma Mia.
We met on Mamma Mia.
Right.
So Neil was the original Pepper in Mamma Mia, and I was deputy on the keyboards. I was a deaf keyboard player. So I would pop down into the band pit once or twice a week, or every now and then. And Neil on stage, and we just met in the pub.
But it is fascinating that there are performers and actors and people, and then there's others that keep an eye out for opportunities, or see opportunities, or have much more of a business mind behind them. Why were you that person?
I think it's survival in this industry. I think it's such a tempestuous industry, isn't it? And you can't, it's so unpredictable what's going to happen in your career. I had some immensely lucky breaks as a musician and a conductor, but that didn't mean I was in work the whole time. And I think it's just security and safeguarding, and you think, well no, I want that kind of life, or I want to do that, and I definitely want to work in this industry for my entire life, and how can I make that happen?
Rather than waiting tables perhaps, or something.
Exactly, yeah.
So you represent artists.
Yes.
Is this something that really, I was thinking coming here, it must be really exciting when you have someone like, who's Ashley Byam?
Ashley Byam, yeah.
Who has been in Legend. I love that movie. I thought everyone was fantastic, including Ashley. What does it look like when you've spoken to Ashley? You're the one that says, look, we'll take you on, we'll send you here, we'll send you there. And then all of a sudden, fast forward, is on film in an Odeon.
I hadn't, this is terrible. I first saw that movie last week on a plane. Because he's been so busy ever since he came out of college, and he's only been out a year and a half.
Don't tell me you cried. Did you know there's a statistic? There is a statistic that says more people cry watching movies on planes.
Well, it's absolutely true. It's all that free alcohol, isn't it? Because you're very emotional. I'm a very emotional person.
Actually, it's so good.
And he went straight out of that into Tarzan, which he shot for 3 months, and that comes out this summer.
But did you see that, you know, when you see someone like him, do you just think, I don't know about this kid, I just got to, let's...
Yeah, but I would say I think that about every single one of my clients. I genuinely think that about everyone. I think, when we set this up, it was just myself and my wife always said to me at the beginning, you know, you've got to be blown away by someone to take them on. You've really got to believe in them. And I stand by that now, that I can't sell anyone or push anyone or recommend anyone unless you really truly believe them to be incredibly talented. And so everyone, I think, on my books, I think deserves an incredible career. Now, it's the nature of the industry that's just not going to happen for everyone. But you definitely, as with everyone else, with Ashley, when we saw him, we just thought it's very special. We have to get hold of him. And as I say, he's just shot Tarzan, and then I'm going to New York tomorrow. He's opening just off Broadway in a play which called The Velveteen Rabbit, which was at the Unicorn and is now transferred.
That's fantastic. When did you decide to diversify? When did you decide to, you know, take more of a risk? Because you obviously start out here and then, you know, you've done so many different things.
I think again it's down to ambition. I've always been a very ambitious person. I always was.
But producing is risky.
I think you have to have a real passion for this industry to produce more than once.
Yeah.
Because I think any producer will tell you that you know, there isn't a great percentage of shows that make an awful lot of money, and you have to put your neck on the line quite a lot. You also have to put other people's necks on the line because you have to raise a lot of finance as well. And so I think every knock that you have, unless you really have that passion and drive and determination to carry on, you kind of fall by the wayside. You know, I've produced shows of varying degrees of success, shall we say.
I always worry when someone has a first up, you know, they have a hit, because then I think, well, it's the second one that will prove.
Well, exactly, yeah. But I'm determined to keep going. I've got 3 shows in the pipeline for the end of this year, and I don't think they will all be hits. I'd love them all to be hits, but it's not going to stop me. I think it's just drive and enjoyment. You know, I love what I do, and we love every day in the office. It's just fun. I think the day that you start to take this industry too seriously, is the day that you're going to fall out of love with it.
Yeah. And Memphis, you were involved in Memphis.
I was an associate producer on Memphis. Yeah, there were quite a few of us.
But it must have been fascinating, because that was something that we, you know, got from scratch, and it made such an impact. But when you see the billboard, you know, it's very easy to forget the years that went on. I spoke to Beverly Knight.
Yeah.
You know, and she said that, you know, it took time to raise the money, and you know.
Of course, you do forget
her in her.
Well, she was incredible, wasn't she?
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
And then Killian was amazing, followed by Matt.
Yes.
But yeah, you do, when you see the billboards and see the show, you forget that it has taken years and years and years. And of course I know that because I'm a musician and a composer as well, so
I've had those calls from the actors about that show we were going to do. Yeah. Sorry about this.
Yeah, exactly.
What might happen next year.
Exactly. I think just maintaining a realistic view on what's going on in the industry helps you kind of keep your feet on the ground.
10th birthday. What's the biggest difference you've seen in the last 10 years in the entertainment? In your experience and what you've come across? I mean, it's a tough industry. Has it got tougher?
It is, I think it has got tougher. I think the commercialism of theatre. Well, I think the theatre's got more commercial.
Become more corporate, if it has.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to continue to get more expensive to put shows on, which is going to continue driving up ticket prices, which is going to continue to annoy people. You know, shows are expensive to put on, and believe it or not, there are, aside from a few, that it's not just producers putting on shows and then going counting their money and going to the Bahamas with everyone's ticket money. They cost a lot of money to put on. And so, yeah, I think the changes, I don't think it's going to get any easier. I think it's going to get tougher. And I think it really is starting to become survival of the fittest out there.
What do you want to do in the next 10 years?
Just carry on. I want to carry on. I want to enjoy the next 10 years as much as I've enjoyed the last 10 years. As I say, I love waking up in the morning and coming to this office because I know I'm going to have a great day.
It's a crazy business that the show folk inhabit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you have to sort of be a bit crazy being there.
It is a bit strange. I obviously run an office from normal office hours, and then every night you're out of the theatre, or you're on a show taping, or a film premiere, or you're on a plane to go and see something. So people forget that here in this kind of middle ground between, you know, audience folk and people on stage, there are a whole bunch of us who work just unbelievable hours. And I'm very lucky that I'm still married, because I don't know how my wife puts up with it.
This is called the Stage Door Johnny, this particular segment. Is there someone who you stood at Stage Door in the cold just to get a glimpse of, or get a signature, or someone that you would stand in the cold for?
I would have stood in the cold for, I think, Alan Rickman. Yeah. I think maybe the answer is just because he's been in the press this week. But he's definitely someone to John Gielgud when he was alive. I would have stood in the cold room. Not somebody living. It's a bit less depressing. Mark Rylance. Yeah, I think he's truly one of our most gifted actors. Yeah. Actually, working in this industry, the kind of level of starstruck that you get, kind of increase, you know, gets higher and higher and higher. There are still people that you kind of get a little bit excited about being in the same room as, but not many.
Yeah, I understand. Look, thank you very much. Congratulations, and may you have continued success.
Brilliant, thank you.